It is dangerous to assume that just because you are a victim, that you cannot ever be an abuser yourself, that you cannot ever be a perpetrator yourself, that you cannot ever be a dangerous person yourself, that you cannot ever be a monster yourself. Don't ever discredit the possibility of you turning into the same monster that hurt you. You see, this is why living with a victimhood mentality is dangerous for all parties involved. Not just you, but to everyone involved in your life. Because it makes you blind to your own actions. It makes you feel justified over your actions, regardless of what you do. It makes you not think about the impact of your actions and behaviors. It makes you only think about your intentions, your pain, your wounds, your feelings. And some of these actions and behaviors and patterns you partake in are a mere representation of your wounds that were never treated properly, that were never tended to properly. A lot of these behaviors you just do without even knowing that you're doing them, and these are unconscious habits you have developed, possibly a survival mechanism, a coping mechanism, and they can be very damaging and debilitating and dysfunctional in relationships. They can cause pain in other people. You could quite literally be repeating cycles right now without even realizing, without even thinking about it. Why? Because you're not questioning yourself enough. You're only thinking about your own pain. You're not questioning yourself enough to see if you're turning into the monster because of your unconscious behaviors, because of your disconnect, because of your pain. You're not thinking about if you're letting your pain take over you and turning you into this person that you don't want to be. There's a chance that you might be doing something without even realizing. And perhaps you don't even want to think about it. You don't want to acknowledge this. You don't want to look in the mirror because it scares you. It scares you because you know it's going to trigger you. You don't want to acknowledge the person you are today. You don't want to acknowledge the person you have turned into today because you're ashamed. You're ashamed of what happened to you. You're ashamed of the fact that you have let that happen to you. You have not resolved that shame. So anything that makes you think about yourself, the way you are today, the conscious reflection of yourself, it is a trigger for you, and that is why you don't do it. But this is how you accidentally partake in a cycle that you swore that you would never engage in. Repeating cycles, hurting people. Remember, what happened to you is not your fault, and you should never blame yourself for what happened to you. You should never feel like it is your fault. And especially, you should not feel like you messed it all up, that you ruined your chance at life, that you're a lost cause. But you do need to have the courage to look at yourself in the mirror. You do need to have the courage to build that relationship with yourself so you don't make home out of the shame that you carry. Pretending like something doesn't exist does not make it absent. Brushing stuff under a rug does not make it go away. You disregarding the responsibility that you have over your own patterns and choices and ignoring the impact of your behaviors on other people, especially the way you cause pain, it does not make it go away. And unfortunately, at that point, you have now become part of this cycle of hurt people hurting other people. But the best thing about this is that you can break this cycle. You can get out of this cycle. You can be a cycle breaker. You do not have to contribute to the collective pain anymore. But first, you must recognize what you're not facing about yourself. You must recognize what you're in denial of.